don't need to do it because it's their legal thing. You know, and I don't mean that much, but consequences extremely fun. I have to go through it. But those are the things that I should do. It is because there's something. I'm not taking it away.
No, he's the applicant.
They're definitely questionable.
She was correct.
Yeah, right, what the light now. As a dancer.
Because it's wrong.
We can fix that.
Well, we do, and it moves going fast.
You got it, you got it. You know what
Okay,
else?
you guys ready here?
Yeah.
Hang on.
I'd like to call the village board meeting for Tuesday, January 5th, 2016, to order with roll call, please.
Kraus,
Here.
Cavelli,
Here.
Kozler,
Here.
Dudak,
Here.
McAlpine,
Here.
Chapman.
Here.
Thank you. Would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll now move to the public open forum where the public is invited to make an issue-oriented comment on any matter of public concern not otherwise on the agenda. Mr. Schul, you've signed in. Did you want to address the village board? Or, I'm sorry, Schultz. It looks like Schul.
I just was told I should be here to answer questions.
Okay, then we'll call you up when that item comes up on the agenda. Thank you. Anybody else want to make a comment to the village board? Thank you. We'll go ahead and close open forum then. I have one thing on my mayor's report. In this upcoming year, the next 4 months, I have 2, if not 3, terms expiring on the CPA, and I'm going to post applications, see if there's any other interest for people that would want to step up for the zoning board. So we'll be advertising that pretty readily over the next 30 to 60 days. Okay. I will entertain a motion to approve consent agenda items number 1 through 4 with number 2, village board meetings as amended, and 6.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
McAlpine,
Yes.
Kozler,
Yes.
Cavelli,
Yes.
Dudak,
Yes.
Kraus,
Yes.
Chapman.
Yes.
Thank you.
Which did you include?
Pardon me?
Which ones did you include? All but
All but 5.
Oh, 5. Okay.
There you go. I will entertain a motion to approve ordinance 016-01-02, granting a conditional use for a solar energy system for the property located at 417 High Road.
So moved.
Second.
Brian?
Thank you, Mayor. The zoning board reviewed a request in December for a petition for conditional use for solar panels on the property at 417 High Road. Based off the discussion during that meeting, the zoning board recommended unanimously for approval of that conditional use. The ordinance that you have before this evening is reflective of their approval. Excuse me, the solar panels were proposed to be installed on the roof of the structure in the rear of the house so that they would not be visible from adjacent properties that are situated on the roof, so they would be below the ridge line, different peaks that are on the roof, and then also with the grade separation that exists behind the structure. There's about a 50-foot grade differential from the subject property to the property in the rear of it, which is in neighboring Trout Valley, so that the signs or the solar panels are not visibly viewed from surrounding properties. So much of the discussion was at the zoning board was in favor of the request. There was some discussion about possibly modifying the code as part of our UDO update to permit the uses by right, but that generally the board was in favor of the request, recommended approval, but for consideration by the board.
Any questions, comments by the village board?
I just want to,
Go ahead.
go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Oh, I just want to commend Mr. Schultz for moving forward in this direction. I think it's the right way to go. I'm very much in favor of green energy. Anytime we can make any kind of an impact in terms of the carbon footprint that we have is a good thing. I think if we had green energy, we wouldn't need to be moving to these new types of light bulbs. We could maintain the current incandescent light bulb that we have, and we could burn them 24/7, 365 days a year. It wouldn't matter if we had green energy powering everything. But because of other interests, I think we're being held back in terms of this moving forward with the green energy. I'd also like to move forward and try to make it easier for our residents if they want to put solar panels on their property, that we would make it easier for them in terms of the application costs and that, in terms of fees and that we put forward in the village.
Trustee Dudek?
I was just curious, do we know if this is our first solar panel residence?
The first that I'm aware of since I've been involved.
Yeah.
It was the first request since the zoning code was updated in 1997, yes.
Okay.
Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Kraus,
Yes.
McAlpine,
Yes.
Dudek,
Yes.
Cavelli,
Yes.
Cosler,
Yes.
Chapman.
Yes.
Thank you. Moving forward with administrator's report, Chris?
Thank you, Mayor. I have 5 items for the trustees tonight. One is the annual budget calendar is being distributed by our finance department to all departments for development of the operating capital budget projections for fiscal year 2016-17. We typically start that and spend the better part of January and February getting prepared internally to present to the trustees in late February or early March, a complete budget workshop on where we see the next fiscal year being in the out years to the extent that we can project them. Clearly, we've talked about it at this board level and committee level, the challenging environment at the state of Illinois. The reality is our budget continues, and we'll be going through a second budget here without finality to state income tax and local government distributive fund takebacks. But we've been making mid-course corrections throughout the year. Board's leadership, we've made some, I think, good decisions along the way with labor agreements and fixed costs. The people costs of our budget are about 75 to 80% of our general fund. But we've been thoughtful with backfills of positions and various changes through the year. I mean, that doesn't mean we're not going to have some challenging issues to balance, but the foresight of the board to give staff, direction to run a lean operation, I think will pay dividends this year as we work through the process. And we'll recommend to you some capital improvements for next year, and you'll be making the decision. So I just want to let you know that process is continuing and beginning this week. Secondly, I briefed you through your administrator update. After a number of years of discussion, Cary, along with about 36 other communities, have been in protracted negotiations at length with Nicor Gas. We, like many communities, have had essentially a 30-year franchise agreement with gas. It's been expired here for about 3-4 years, and we've been in discussions with Nicor ever since, which is commonplace in the municipalities. Nicor's taken a while to get to the table to work through, right-of-way use terms and other standard modern terms for gas use in the public right-of-way in suburbs in northern Illinois. Good news is we're at the finish line. I attended a meeting during the holidays at the Council of Mayors and Managers in DuPage County. Cary was a part of this group, and settlement has been recommended by the 37 village boards. And I'll be talking with you and briefing you and be bringing an item to you for approval consideration on January 19th. I'll probably also put it in committee so we can spend some time at committee that night looking at it. But From a financial standpoint, Assistant Reif, myself, and Michael Ducharme are calculating there's some possible financial benefit to us that we didn't have before. It looks like about 71% of our natural gas use that we've been paying for forever, as far as I can see, will be able to be absorbed by this agreement. And so that net value of that is about $48,000 a year to us. About $25,000 to $30,000 of that is to the general fund. So that would be a takeaway cost. In over 25 years, it's worth about $650,000, $700,000 to us. We're going to have to look in a fine print, and I've got some legal correspondence that Attorney Simon will look at as well. The question is, so what are we giving up for it, basically? But we'll go over in detail on the 19th this agreement, and we hope to pass it if we can. If we need additional time, I can get it through on the first meeting of February, but the towns have been asked to consider it all at the same time. Any questions about that at this point? Third, the Economic Development Task Force, you asked me to put some goals and objectives together. I put on your board tables tonight a beginning of a conversation about it with you, about what staff sees to be some of the upside of projects and agenda items for the Economic Development Task Force I sent out to you. We had 6 applicants for the positions on the task force. As we had said, we're looking for 3 or 4 candidates, and I'd suggest that I be given the direction to interview each of the candidates, bring to you 3 or 4 recommended candidates for your consideration as we finalize the formality behind this. I'll have Attorney Simon look at it as well. As I've explained, I've tried to keep this flexible, and staff does believe it will bring insight to what we're doing collectively from fresh perspectives of residents. We will not take the place of what your village staff does. It adds to it, it augments, it provides new perspective. As I indicated in the correspondence I put on your table, through the comprehensive plan, we learned the value in real time of 60, 70 residents, many of which had really creative ideas, about economic development in Cary, some things that we had never even thought of that were drawn on maps and brought forward through the kind of process. So I think if we can find 3, 4 people, and then hopefully we don't have seats for everyone, there may be other volunteer assignments for these volunteers that have come forward through the ED task force for other boards and commissions at the village. But I think it's going to be a good thing. I know there's been some concern about, well, what are they going to do? You don't have to fully digest this tonight. I suggest you read it, give me any comments. I'll be using aspects of it as I talk to these candidates, and then, hope to bring it tied up in a bow 2 to 4 weeks to you with, your decision ultimately on proceeding. And we've got projects already that we could give the group tomorrow. So time is of the essence, and unless there's further direction or feedback, I'll just proceed on that project.
I know this, we're still trying to figure this out, but it's not narrowed down how many people are going to make it on the task force yet.
Well, I had initially suggested 3 to 4 before we had anybody apply. We have 6 applicants. Ultimately, I think we should I should meet on your behalf, each person, and try to understand their interests and lay out some of the guidelines. You're going to decide what we do over time, and it's a task force. It's not designed at this point to be a forever assignment. It's, designed to be as long as it's, useful. And, we clearly saw in some of the applications, which I sent to you on email, you see some people that popped up that, are interested in more of a targeted assignment as opposed to a 5-year term on a board. So I think it should be interesting and I'd like to meet each of the 6 residents. And clearly if we have fewer seats than, and we have more candidates and seats, I'll certainly look at those folks to recommend to you for other boards and commission appointments that might come up down the road for other things. We always like to have volunteers that come forward through these processes because there's always something here at the village to do. Any comments or concerns or questions?
No, I'm just glad we had the number we had apply, and I think it's a positive step. So.
Next item for me, item 4, is entryway signs. I've got 2 projects that through the summer, we've completed about $2.5 million worth of capital projects, and we had 2 projects that I let sit for a bit until the new board could get assimilated before bringing forward a discussion on. One of them is this entryway sign project. We have a placeholder in the budget for corridor improvements. That's about $100,000. We've got basically 5 signs that are very dated, and old, and from a, truly a landscaping perspective could be upgraded without much cost. We wanted to do it with a full board so everybody could be part of the quasi-branding aspect of this. I've typically seen heads shaking in positive when we've had this before. And we do have, I think, a reasonable amount of money to make a difference. If you've seen City of Crystal Lake and Village of Fox River Grove of late have made improvements, and there's a new sign design. It's some sort of styrofoam that's very intriguing. Whether that'll be the best option for us, I don't know, but it's not as complicated as it used to be years ago to do board signs. So I think we can make, a real dent in this. I know that there's been some testimony over the time, even with the train station project, where can we put a scrolling board for community activities, those kind of things. Does that come hand in hand with this? I don't know. I mean, I think we need 5 consistent, nice-looking signs at the entry to our town. I do think that there can be components around the train station project, if we continue to proceed with it, where a scrolling sign might be appropriate, like some have commented in Mount Prospect and some other suburbs, I think Barrington, by memory. So probably that's more of a downtown-centric project than entryway, but I think I can do pretty good with 100,000, and we'll try to bid it and make it as competitive as possible. So any issues with me proceeding on that project?
Rock on, do it.
Very good. White topping, it's been a project that we've looked at and started in 2014. Trustee Chapman brought this to the forefront to look at other alternative ways to do paving of village streets, to stretch dollars, to try and extend lifespans of roads. We obviously, and typically, as many suburbs do, look at it from a pavement perspective, and pavement isn't necessarily always the longest lifespan substance use, but there are cost issues sometimes with concrete roads, but there are also lifespan enhancements with concrete roads in some applications. And so we had some dialogue about it. Trustee Chapman was patient with us and allowed it to be part of capital improvement discussions. And I look back at my notes, and it was in February of 15 that we had a full PowerPoint presentation I sent out to you today, and some specs that we looked at. And we have some placeholder money in the roadwork fund for a pilot project. We had looked at Spring Street south of downtown, but proceeded to do it in the paving program because we had some good bids. And we had some thought that through the train station downtown enhancements that we could tie a pilot project to maybe a better location. We're targeting and looking at not just a road, but a parking lot, the South Metro parking lot across from the old Galatis, I'll say, and the road, the Janus part of the road from Main down to the stop sign might be a good application. It may not, necessarily fit within that budget we have, but we're looking at that from a truck use standpoint, possibly being a good site. We're doing some sampling. Orders have gone out for some of these roads and others that can get brought back. But I wanted to assure the group that that's not been forgotten. And we'll bring that back forward to you when we have some more information. Are there any questions about that? I want to say that, I kind of summarized it today. We did a $1.5 million neighborhood roadway improvement program quite quietly and without a lot of issues or complaints. We did about $450,000 of tank painting this year. We did, as you know, 3 demolitions at Sunset Crest, and we're heading to design of the open space components of that now. So quite a lot of work was done this year with our budgeted funds, and certainly not just with the white topping, but we're targeting a project that Trustee Kraus has brought forward last year through CIP debates, the Park Avenue improvements. We've done some preliminary work on that. And it's an expensive project. It's just flat out expensive. It's necessary. But it's got utility components to it, underground, storm sewer, other possibly sewer and water improvements, probably $1 million job. And we're probably going to need to look at accelerating it to the extent we can. So next year's CIP might not be as complicated as past years because of the expense of that job. But we've got some other, strategies like white topping that we'll keep looking at to see where possible, if we can fund it, can we test a product that might make sense in certain parts of the community? So that's my update. Happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Wow,
Any questions?
you've been a busy boy. Just real quickly, from the white topping standpoint, as someone that's new to the board, I will admit to being ignorant and not really understanding all that, so I would like to,
Sure.
I know you're gonna give us some stuff, but like, I wouldn't even know how to respond to that effectively at this point, because I don't really know what it is.
I know you may be coming in this week to talk about the community grant
Yeah.
program that you had some comments, so we can talk about white
Okay,
topping
great.
at the time.
Thank you. Has anything majorly changed with our department heads in the last 30 minutes that you need an update? Eric? Nothing? Okay, thank you. Is there any future agenda items in discussion by the village board? Okay, I will entertain a motion to adjourn into executive session to discuss real estate purchase or lease and close session minutes review.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Thank you. We will adjourn into executive session.
Yeah, 40 minutes.
I know Mark won't do that to
Because I
me.
had,
Be careful what you ask for.
Yeah, I know,
Bob's
right?
got
tonight,
elaborate
and all of a
here
sudden I
already
saw
for
from the, we do a big
rose
Christmas
petals up the
bazaar where
driveway.
we feed all the
Yeah,
kids and
right.
volunteers
Oh,
and the
sure.
people. And I bring all my
But Bob,
cereal.
We good?
Nobody
about-
bring anything up. I'm like, That's my knife. I'm giving my purse. Look, I brought the big knife in my purse. See, you didn't know that. I'm good enough for God.
Yeah. Sure.
I will entertain a motion to return from executive session.
So moved.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. We have one more thing left to discuss. I will entertain, or to approve, I will entertain a motion to approve Resolution R16-01-02, certain closed session meeting minutes not for release, and authorizing the village clerk to make certain closed session meeting minutes, if any, available for public inspection as part of the semi-annual review for closed session minutes. There are no minutes for release.
So moved.
second,
Okay. Roll call, please.
Kraus,
Yes.
McAlpine,
yes.
Chapman,
Yes.
Dudek,
Yes.
Cavelli,
Yes.
Cosler.
Yes.
Thank you. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.